The path to Naples is about to begin. Coming to you live from Naples, Florida's Paradise Coast, where champions are crowned. We'll find out who's playing who in the single largest event in all of youth football. Welcome to the 2019 FBU National Championship Tournament West Bracket Draw Show. Glad to have you with us again, this time from the Paradise Coast. I'm Chad Ricardo, joining me Football University President, Mr. Steve Quinn, and also National Recruiting Director, my brother, Mr. Erik Richards. Gentlemen, it's time for the FBU National Championship Tournament. Are we excited here?
Woo, back in this weather? I mean, come on, it's 72 degrees out here. Put on a suit in October? I mean,
Path to Naples kicks off down here on the Paradise Coast. There can only be one true national championship tournament, and of course the Football University FBU National Championship Tournament is that. 32 teams over 3 different grade levels, that's 96 teams in total, over 3,500 student athletes, and that's going to encompass 24 states.
yeah, Chad, I mean, it's 3,500 plus athletes spread across 96 teams in 32 cities. The best of the best, right? All these all-stars coming together with about 3 weeks of practice to get ready. Some teams only average 6 to 9 practices before they come down and compete, and then it's lights on, right, for game one.
And the thing that I love the most about this is that every year the FBU National Championship Tournament, it gets bigger, it gets better.
Hard to imagine this is year 5 already, right? We've actually moved Football University down here to beautiful Naples, Florida, Collier County. The last year's event it was 15 million impressions, right? So when you talk about the James Cooks of the world and the Trevor Lawrences of the world, they got their start here, right? Everybody knew who they were before they even stepped on a high school football field because of this tournament. And so obviously Naples is excited about it. They're building a sports complex down here. The icing on the cake is when it opens up, the grand opening May 1st. And then next year in 2020, Erik, we're playing in the brand new stadium and hopefully on NBC Sports, as we've talked about. So it couldn't be any bigger and the stage couldn't be any greater.
And Steve, you kind of speak to this next point here. I mean, this is about truly so much more than just the football. This is an experience for the student athletes and for all of the families. What all do we offer?
100%. I mean, championship week is much bigger than just these football games. I was talking to some gentlemen yesterday during some of our things we were doing out here in Naples already, and they're telling me the experience is much more about football than football. They're meeting friends when they come down here. They're social media friends for the rest of their lives. They're talking about how they can get better at recruiting. They're talking about things that are propelling them to the next level. And so, as you mentioned, the experience when they come down here, you just can't beat the experience. And then the camaraderie, right, with all the coaches and the families, and getting an opportunity to come out here to the beach and hang out on their day off with a beach party. Just so many great things that these kids, coaches, and parents get a chance to experience during championship week.
Yeah, Chad, Rutgers was fun last, right? We were in a D1 stadium, but it was raining coldy while we were filming that draw show last year. 72 degrees. In a suit in October right here. I think, Steve, going back to where the talent's gone to, if you remember, it wasn't long ago, the tournament's been going on in its 9th year now, 5 years in Naples. It wasn't long ago that one tournament, one year, had Trevor Lawrence, Matt Corral, JT Daniels, all as quarterbacks in this tournament. So when people ask me, where is this tournament gone? I think the level of talent has increased every year because of those forefathers that came and played in it previously.
No doubt about it. Now you have partners like Adidas that have come down here and partnered with us, Gatorade, right? Some of the biggest partners. Yep. Flow Sports is going to be, which we'll talk about more in this, are going to be televising and live streaming all the regional games and the championship games this year. And of course, we're going to be having our future showcase down here, 6th grade through 9th grade, the 200 top players that are come down here and do a showcase with us. And of course, Matt Lauer's done a great job with our National Invitational. The other Matt Lauer, exactly, not to be confused at. But the 8U and 10U is going to have 16 teams at each level playing in a National Invitational. And we have a waiting list now. So are we going to go to 16 teams next year maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe.
So 8U and 10U, we've got the FBU National Championship Tournament. I know that we've got something really special for the top ninth graders around the country as well.
The game, powered by Adidas. The freshman game's just gone to a whole new. Every year we come down here, 6'5", 300-pound linemen walking through the lobby. People are wondering if they're at the wrong tournament. We got some of our 8th grade teams wondering, I don't have to play that team, do it? No, you don't have to play that team. But a year ago they were in this thing. But out of the 60 players, 30 with multiple Division I offers, and usually when we leave here, then the offers start rolling in for those guys.
The MVP last year, right? He actually got 6 offers within a month, 6 SEC offers within a month after being named the MVP. So amazing setting, 3,500 people in the stands, national television. Stage couldn't be bigger for these freshmen.
FBU National Championship Tournament, far more than just football. Coming up, we'll reveal the opening round matchups of the West bracket. We're going to find out who's playing who in the Northwest and the Pacific. It's the 2019 FBU National Championship Tournament Draw Show.
We know how to play hard in Naples, Marco Island, and the Everglades. On the beaches and on the greens. Downriver and downtown. In our restaurants and in the end zone. Come play your hardest, then take time to explore paradise. Naples, Marco Island, and the Everglades, Florida's Paradise Coast.
Welcome back, my friends. The stage is set. It is now time to reveal the teams in the opening round matchups of the West bracket of the 2019 FBU National Championship Tournament. This is really one of the things that separates what we do here from some of our other tournaments that you may see around the country. Why is it that we don't just seed the teams? Why do we do draws?
Great question, Chad, but we feel like you got the same cities in the same brackets, so to speak, from year in and year out. It wouldn't be fair for Georgia to play Florida game 1 of the season, Oklahoma to play Texas game 1 of the season, and so on and so on. So what we do to shake it up a little bit, we redraw. Then, once the regionals are done, we put them in the hat and redraw again. So you don't have a Seattle having to play in Orange County every year, first game down to Naples. And so it mixes it up, it keeps it fresh. It's not guaranteeing you that you're not going to see a GFL versus GMSA in the first round, but it at least gives a fair chance and a draw for it to happen.
New variety every year.
Yeah.
Let's find out who is playing in this side of the bracket. From the Northwest region, Seattle, Eastern Washington, Northern Washington, and Oregon. From the Pacific, Southern California, formerly the OC, Inland Empire, Vegas, and we've got a play-in game, Bay Area versus Sacramento. Let's kick it inside to Bronson Gowdy. Bronson, of course, is our FBU Team Kentucky team director. This is our West Bracket draw.
Southern California. Inland Empire. Play-in game. Vegas. Eastern Washington. Northern Washington. Oregon. Seattle.
Some interesting games out west, to say the least, gentlemen. Now, historically, we've seen one powerhouse coming from this bracket, that being Seattle.
Seattle, since 2013, they've had a team down here in Naples. That's 5 consecutive years. They've got the 12th man that we talk about all the time. They travel really well. They fill up the stands down here, and probably arguably one of the best games in tournament history in 2016 when Seattle played Broward with all those, what were some of those kids that were playing in that game?
I mean, you know, that they beat the Broward team that hadn't been beat in 3 years. You had JT Tuamalo, you had Paolo Banchero, who's now a 5-star basketball athlete, Chad, and Julian Simon, a 2021 athlete that we're looking at for the NBC All-American Bowl.
45-39. I mean, one of the best games I've ever seen, youth football games I've ever seen. Seattle went on to play in the national championship that year and sent Broward home for the first time, like you said, in 3 years.
Yeah, and even before that, the year before, it was G. Scott, it was Sam Adams III, it was Aiden Hector, all participants in the high school All-American game for this year, the 2020 game and stuff. And they have run roughshod over that bracket up there, and but before there was a Seattle, Steve, there was an Oregon that made the Final Four.
There was an Oregon, and they're back.
Now they're back.
And these guys have a little bit of competition behind them. You know, they've actually been competing in the Adidas 7-on-7. It's a group called E-Force out of the Portland area. Alex, Ryan, and Kieran up there have already put together their teams. They've named their players already. They're going through the invite process right now. If there was a sleeper up there, and I know Seattle is a recruiting hotbed now, right? 24/7 regularly goes up there. There's nationally televised games now in Seattle. But if there's a sleeper right now, I'm going with Team Oregon as that sleeper out there in that Northwest bracket.
Right. And there is so much talent. It has spilled over into Northern Washington, into Eastern Washington, in Seattle. And so eventually those guys are going to kick on the door and knock it down. But, you know, Seattle's going through a little bit of a director change. Longtime director Rob Mason has stepped off and done other things, and in comes Zuri Hector, who's very familiar with the tournament, has been a coach involved since its inception, father of Aiden Hector, and a biggest name of addition is Tracy Ford. Who trains all the athletes up there from high school to college to pro, and one of the leading 7-on-7 teams in the country has kind of taken a little bit more of a lead in resurrecting the Seattle team and putting them back in the tournament.
And has become a national partner with Football University. Tracy has, and added Sam Adams back into the mix now, coaching with Team Seattle. And Erik Medeiros is still part of that team up there and does a great job with Team Seattle. You know, can't say enough about what they've done up there and created a whole different platform and national stage in Seattle with the recruiting that's going on up there.
And for the student athletes that are watching at home that may not have seen Sam Adams play football, they know his son, may not have seen him play. He was a heck of a football player in his own regard, starred with the Seattle Seahawks out there as well.
Thankfully, Sam's dropped a few pounds since he played, but he could plug a gap, that was for sure.
No doubt about it. Going to be a great tournament up there. It's actually going to be televised on the NBC Sports local network in Eastern Washington. Jamie, the team director up there, has done a great job. Coach Watson that has Northern Washington. You know, this is going to be an interesting tournament this year. They've been in this thing for 2 years, Eastern Washington. Northern Washington now its second year, and they know what it takes to win ball games.
I'm going to write this down as I take notes here. Coming from Steve and Erik, Seattle has challengers this year. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'd say the first time, really. I mean, real challenges since Oregon, 3-4 years ago.
Left. Yep.
Right? I think it's going to be a competitive bracket, Chad.
That's a look at the Northwest. Let's speak about the Pacific, gentlemen.
Wow. How about LA last year? The 8th grade team, Freddie Arteaga, coming down here to Naples, Florida, and taking a national championship back to Southern Cal. How great was that, Chad? I mean, you were a big part of talking with them and what they did down here.
We talk about the experience. We speak about this being more than just football. I'm not certain whether any team embodied that more than that team from last year. Everything, all of their travels, the way that they put it on video.
Buses back and forth, 3,000 miles to Naples, 3,000 miles, back to Southern Cal. And on the way back there, you could see on social media the pictures that they were taking of the national championship. They embraced it,
Sure.
and they embraced it with not just the middle school, the Buckeye program that was part of this whole thing, which is a national, national competitive team out there on the youth circuit. And of course, they had the high school coaches.
Yeah. I mean, it might have surprised you too, but knowing where those players come from, the Mater Deis, the J. Sierras, the Servites, the Boscos, is what they were pulling from, is the athletes that eventually end up at those high schools. It didn't surprise me. What surprised me is Freddie Ortega was able to get all those coaches from those programs to put
100%.
down their ego and come together and coach this team and get them there. And, of course, they had DeAndre Moore, who was a finalist for the National Player of the Year, Chad, who was a big part of that championship team, one of the better quarterbacks they had in the tournament last year. They've renamed themselves Southern Cal. You can do that when you win a national championship.
And when you have 12 million people out there, right?
You can go, all the way down. But 12 million people out there, there's a new team coming in. And Keefe Maffany is bringing the Inland Empire in. It's going to be made up for the majority of Ducks. We know that. They've dominated other tournaments throughout the landscape and everything. So it should be an interesting matchup if those guys end up playing each other on Sunday for the right to come to Naples.
And for anyone who may have missed that, did we just say that Inland Empire is playing in the FBU National Championship Tournament this year?
Inland Empire and Southern Cal. Hopefully, we'll see in the draw, right? Who's going to be playing who? But this is something that everybody's been waiting for, and here we are.
But Chad, although provided there's another team in that bracket called Vegas.
No doubt about it.
And we all know Bishop Gorman High School, Liberty, Desert Pines, Faith Lutheran. I mean, that high school area has been able to go and play anybody in the country.
Yep.
And the team director from out there?
Well, they were here, 3-4 years ago?
Yep.
They brought a team
Bo
down.
Taylor.
Then last year, Mark Arendado, the team director out there, got a 6th grade team out there. I was just out there a couple of weeks ago, got an opportunity to visit what they're doing in Vegas. They've got a full 6th, 7th, and 8th grade team already. They had over 100 kids at their tryout. We're bringing a camp back to Vegas this year to do an FBU camp this April. So a lot of things rolling out there. Don't count Vegas out.
Don't count that bunch out, especially knowing what their high school produces talent-wise.
And look, we're not talking about the Bay Area either here, right? Carl Wilson's back.
Yep.
Carl, who brought a team out here a couple of years ago.
Got a team through.
They've notoriously got a team through. Sacramento, I know Maurice has been through this a couple of years now. He knows what it takes to get a team down here in Naples, Florida. So again, these brackets just keep on getting more and more and more competitive because it's the same guys coming back every year, and they know what it takes to get to the next level.
And this is what makes the FBU National Championship Tournament different. I mean, we are speaking about entire regions, not just teams from a region, but entire regions coming together, coaches coming together, and doing what's best for the student athletes of their communities.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Looking
No
forward
doubt.
to it.
Great bracket.
Tons of excitement soon, though. We'll know who's best out west.
Drive home safely. See you next season.
American Bowl is brought to you by Football University. FBU, bringing former NFL coaches and players from all around the country.
The 2019 FBU National Championship Tournament, Steve Quinn, the path to Naples just got a lot clearer.
The sun, the fun, the swimsuits, Flow Sports, Adidas, all of it right here in the Paradise Coast. What more can you ask for?
And it's the experience that this lovely city provides to the families and the student athletes.
But before we talk about the experience, where's Erik Richards?
Did he go to change his shoes again? I mean,
Again?
Somebody say a true national championship. It's only played one place in Naples, Florida. The FBU National Championship.